What's going on, guys? Talked in the past in a video, it's been a while, it's part of the patrol series, which I haven't forgot about. Setting up your rifle for doing security patrol type work in a crap hit the fan raw type situation as an armed prepared citizen. And I got to go back and do a follow-up on that, maybe even one or two. But I wanted to give a preview of something that's tied into that, that'll be separate yet connected, if that makes any sense. And that's about your optics that you may or may not use on those weapons that you would use for that purpose. I've always been a big fan of red dot sights, and I've showed y'all in the past my AR pistol that I have very much fallen in love with, and I love this little gun. And I've got one of the Primary Arms micro dot sights on it, and I absolutely love it. I've told you before, in the past I have owned a number of aim points, probably in excess of 3, 4, 5, 6, probably around 8 or more aim points. I love aim points. Aim points are great optics, and they are great red dot sights, and as far as I'm concerned, probably, you know, the standard by which everything else is judged by. And I've also pointed out to you that this little Primary Arms micro dot has absolutely sold me over. I'm not sure that I personally, if I build any more rifles in the future, that I would go back to aim points. Not that I don't like them, but for me, being on a budget, my use and parameters that I have, the Primary Arms, in my opinion, is 90% of what an aim point is at a fraction of the cost. I'm on a pretty tight budget. I got to make every dollar count, so I got to get the most that I can out of my money. And for me, at this point in the stage, Primary Arms is it. Has been for a while. And I can say that because I first tried a Primary Arms small red dot back in 2011. Yeah, 2011. And I got, it had been out for a little while, but it was still fairly new. One of the early model micro dots that they come out with. I had it on my one of my 7.62 AKs, loved it, ended up moving away from those, and when I did, my wife claimed it for her gun. So this is her little Beretta Storm that she loves dearly. And this is that old, see if we can get that to focus. This is that old Primary Arms micro dot sight, old gen. And to this day, it is still running strong. Absolutely zero issues with it. Love it. I love the newer model even more. Okay, they rock. I've also showed you that I tried out. I used to run an aim point magnifier. I wanted a similar setup on my pistol, and that I could also transfer over to any of my other guns. And I showed y'all I'd picked up this Primary Arms 3X sight. Okay, make it easy to put on and off. I got Midwest Industries, throw lever mount. Absolutely love Midwest Industries stuff. I've been using Midwest Industries since 2011 as well. I had one of their first railed handguards for AKs to try out, and loved it. It was great. Now, obviously, things have progressed a lot since 2011, 2012. Lot newer stuff now, but it was good then. New stuff's even better. Midwest Industries mount is perfect for this. my AR pistol, I can flop this on behind it, lock it down, and I instantly got 3X. When I want to take it off, put it back in my gear, back to just a red dot. I can use this with my other guns that have got aim points on them. So far, this Primary Arms 3X magnifier is living up to everything else that excuse me, my Primary Arms stuff has done. I mean, it's it's great. I don't see any difference for the most part. Again, I'd say it's 90% of what I had with my aim point stuff, but at a fraction of the cost. Now, I'm going to stop right here and say I'm not saying aim point stuff's bad. I'm trying to say that's how good the Primary Arms stuff is. So, all that rambling and jibber jabber. Got a little something new from Primary Arms that I'm going to try out. And I've been wondering about it for a while, been wanting to pick one up. Finally worked things out where I could. And I was dubious about it, I guess would be, as to whether it would, not that it would be good, but would it work for what I wanted it to do. So what I got was one of their 3X compact scopes with the 5.56 ACSS reticle. I won't bore you with all the details of the reticle and what it's designed to do and how it's designed to work. There's plenty of videos out there showing you that. You can look those up and see them. But that would be this scope right here. Okay? And as you can see, it's clearly marked. It's focus in. There you go. ACSS 5.56. It's a fixed power 3X scope. Okay? The reticle in it, a little different than a standard red dot sight. It's got a black etched reticle. And what that means, for any that might not know, the reticle is actually etched onto the glass, so it's always visible. It is battery operated. When you turn the battery on, it illuminates the black reticle and changes it red. The good thing about that is that even if your battery's dead, even if you don't have a battery in it, you can still see the reticle and it will always be there and always work. You won't have the ability to make it red if you're trying to use it in low light a little bit, but you will always have that black reticle. Now, for us as armed prepared citizens, be it everyday use or obviously things we talk about here, you know, catastrophic event, crap hit the fan, raw situation, you know, zombie outbreak, whatever. Don't know how long something like that may last. So, battery life on optics has always been something to take into consideration. Not necessarily lose sleep over, but you got to think about it. Most aim points last years with it turned on. That's not counting turning it off, but just leaving it on. The newer Primary Arms stuff lasts a long time too. Left on. Turning it off, indefinite. The benefit for us that I think in something like that 3X is you don't have to worry about it. If the batteries ever go dead, you just lose the ability to make it red. That's it. You always will have that black reticle just like on a standard scope. For long-term use, I think that's a really huge positive. A couple other positives. I haven't got this into the range yet. I've just got it. Things have been crazy. I hope to get it to the range within the next couple of weeks. I want to get it zeroed, get some rounds through it, run some drills with it, kind of, you know, get a feel for it. But initial thoughts and impressions. One good point of that is, much like Primary Arms microsights, they made it so that the microsights use the same exact base pattern as like a T1 micro. So any mounts out there that fit T1 micro will fit the Primary Arms micro dot. That's brilliant. It's huge. It's the way it should be. On that 3X, it uses the same exact mounts as an ACOG. So there's plenty of companies making different mounts, throw lever mounts, etc. for the ACOG. They'll all fit that. I'll probably eventually get a Midwest Industries one, just because I like theirs and I want to keep everything the same with, I like all my throw levers the same. I don't like having different brands. That way they just all operate the same, work the same. Pet peeve. Doesn't matter. So anyway, yeah, it uses the same bases. Battery life seems to be really long on it. That according to the specs, just like the other stuff. Again, as I already said, that's not a hugely important thing because of the etched reticle. The fixed 3X magnification. I think that's going to be probably one of my biggest things on this one that I've kind of started rethinking where I was at. I've always wanted a red dot, and that was my primary go-to, with the ability to put the magnifier on there exactly the way I set up my pistol. But I was planning on running my other full carbines the same way because that's how I ran them in the past. But in pondering things over and talking with some of the guys and us coming up with hypothetical scenarios and situations and war gaming them out, the fixed 3X is really starting to make a lot of sense to me, because with that fixed 3X, most of your engagements, I would theorize, emphasis on that, are probably going to be between 50 to 250 yards. That fixed 3X is always going to be there, and it just makes those 150, 250 yard shots more like 75 yards, 100 yards. A little bit easier to pull off, especially versus somebody that's not running any kind of magnification. So I think that's one of the benefits, while at the same time the 3X isn't enough that you can't use it closer up. Now obviously it's not intended, I don't believe, to be used as a CQB site, kicking indoors, clearing rooms, SWAT team, that sort of thing. But that's not what I envision as our primary focus. Granted, yes, you may have to clear an abandoned building or something, again talking hypotheticals, but you can do it with a little practice. You just won't necessarily use maybe the actual reticle through the optic. You'd be more kind of sighting over the top of it. Again, that's a whole other video in itself. We'd have to do at the range, and I could better explain what I'm talking about. But initially, I said the mount that comes with it, just to get back to the sight, is just two thumb nuts. Tightens down easy, clamps on good and solid. It's there. It's not going anywhere. I love there's a focus adjustment on the back, which is good. You do have a short Picatinny rail up top. You could put like a little holographic red dot up there again, and that would cover CQB stuff if you wanted to. It's sealed and nitrogen purged, which is good. That means it will keep it from fogging up, which for me is just huge because we have such crazy humidity here. You got easy dials. You got your elevation adjustment, windage adjustment, and then your power on and off for the illumination. The reticle I really like, and using it at close range. Again, I have to get out to the range and kind of play with it. I can better explain my thoughts there, but you can use it. I want to play with the reticle because it does have the range estimation and rangefinder in there that you can use for longer, more precise shots. Read up on it. I want to play with it, see how it works out. A little bit more on that, if you go check out my my buddy Brent 0331 over on his channel. He just reviewed one of the I think it's the 1:6 variable primary arm sight with the same reticle. Don't quote me on that. I know that sounds bad. I watched it a couple of times already, but I'm usually so focused on what he's talking about that the details sometimes lose me. But yeah, I know Brent's got a video on, I'm almost certain it's the 1-6. Anyway, another good option that we might get into later there. Maybe it was the 1-4. I don't remember. Brent's got one. Go to his channel, check it out. It's another primary arms site. So I'll shut up rambling on that. I just wanted to preview that to you guys. If you're looking for an optic on a budget, if you're looking for an optic and you're not on a budget and you just want really good quality at not high price, check out Primary Arms. They're right up there with a number of the other companies that I like. Their stuff, the bang for the buck, in my personal opinion, is there. It's absolutely there. As long as you're not planning on going scuba diving with it or anything like that, I think it'll be absolutely fine for anything we could possibly want to use it for. All their sites, the micros, that one, etc., they're waterproof. You could, you know, drop it in a ditch, be out in the rain, etc., and you're going to be fine. It's not going to mess it up. If you go scuba diving, you know, 40 feet under the water, you might have an issue. If you're scuba diving 40 feet under the water, you've gotten into some kind of really crazy situation at that point that's way more high speed, low drag than, you know, what we're talking about here as far as just an armed prepared citizen planning for bad times. So on that note, I'll stop rambling. Check them out. When I get to the range with this, I'm going to do my best to make sure I got the camera with me, get some video, and there will be a follow-up part 2 on it once I get some rounds through it. We can get it zeroed and kind of run some drills with it. And I'll get that to you all as soon as I can. I can't tell you. It may take me a couple of weeks. I got stuff happening, seems like every day the next couple of weeks going on. So we'll see. It's going to happen. Just can't promise when. So anyway, take care. Stay safe, guys. And I will talk to you next time. Oh, don't forget your coffee.